Hello, I'm technically not a technician, and today's video is about an exciting new program for arcade ROM curation called the MAME Smart ROM Sorter. If you have ever worked with MAME, arcade cabinets, arcade 1-up mods, or just a giant folder full of arcade ROM files, you already know the problem. MAME is awesome. Messy ROM sets are not always awesome. They can be huge, they can be messy, they can include games you do not want, games your cabinet cannot properly play, games with control types you do not have, games that are not working, games you forgot were even in there, and a whole lot of stuff that makes building a clean arcade setup more painful than it needs to be. And that is precisely why I started building this program. This tool is the MAME Smart ROM Sorter, and as of making this video, version 5.0 is now available. Now, before we go any further, let me say this clearly. This program does not include ROMs. It does not give you ROMs. It does not download ROMs. And it does not magically solve the legal side of emulation. What it does is help you organize and curate the MAME ROMs that you already have. For this version, the program is really built around a non-merged ROM set. In plain English, that means each game zip should have what it needs inside it, instead of depending on a bunch of parent and clone files being spread around. That makes it a lot easier to copy selected games into a clean output folder without breaking everything. And if you are anything like me, that is the part that turns into a mess real fast. Many people do not want every single thing in a giant MAME set on their cabinet. Maybe you are building a simple 2-player joystick cabinet. Maybe you want only vertical shooters. Maybe you want trackball games. Maybe you want light gun games. Maybe you are building a driving setup. Maybe you want to avoid mature titles. Maybe you only want working arcade games. Maybe you want something cleaner for a family arcade build. That is where the MAME Smart ROM Sorter comes in. The idea is simple. Take a big, messy ROM dump, apply smarter filters, and create a cleaner, curated ROM set that actually makes sense for your arcade cabinet. Now, if you have seen some of my older videos about MAME sorting, then you know this is not my first time talking about this problem. I have talked about ROM sorting before. I have discussed how frustrating it can be, and I have tested different ways to organize and clean up ROM folders. But version 5.0 matters because this is the milestone version where the project starts feeling a lot more like a real tool. Not just a rough idea. Not just a script that only makes sense if you already know what you are doing, but an actual program that normal arcade hobbyists can download, test, and use. Version 5.0 is available on GitHub, and the release package includes the Windows executable and the source package. So if you just want to try the program, you can grab the exe, and if you want to look at the code, review it, or build from source, that is there too. Now let's talk about what this program actually does. At the most basic level, the MAME Smart ROM Sorter helps you build a cleaner output folder from your existing ROM collection. You give the program a non-merged ROM set. You choose the kind of arcade build or preset you want, you run the process, and it creates an output folder with the ROMs that match your choices. That means instead of manually digging through thousands of zip files, you can let the tool help you build something closer to the arcade setup you actually want. For version 5.0, the big focus is making the workflow cleaner and more useful. The program is built around the idea that people do not all have the same arcade cabinet. Some people have a standard joystick and button setup. Some people have trackballs. Some people have steering wheels. Some people have light guns. Some people are building a general-purpose MAME cab. Some people are building something very specific. So the program is designed to help sort based on those arcade needs. One of the big things I wanted for this version was better preset-style thinking. Instead of requiring everyone to manually configure every filter from scratch, the goal is to make the program easier for people who already know the kind of cabinet they are building. For example, if you are building a standard joystick cabinet, you probably do not want a bunch of games that require a steering wheel. If you are building a trackball setup, you probably want to find the games that actually use a trackball. If you are building a light gun cabinet, you want those games separated out. If you are building a driving cab, you want driving games that make sense for that kind of setup. That is the kind of problem this program is trying to solve. Now let's do a quick demo. This is not going to be a full deep dive tutorial in this video. I can make that later if people want it. For this video, I just want to show the basic idea. Here is the MAME Smart ROM Sorter. The basic workflow is simple. First, point the program at your existing MAME ROM folder. Second, choose the type of arcade build preset you want. Third, pick where you want the cleaned up ROM set to go. Then run the sorter. The goal is to leave your main ROM set alone and create a separate curated output folder. That way, you are not destroying your original collection. You are building a cleaner copy based on what you actually want on your arcade cabinet. And to me, that is important. I do not want a tool that just starts wrecking folders. I want something that helps create a cleaner arcade build while leaving the original collection alone. Once the sorter runs, the program starts processing the selected filters and copying matching ROMs into the output folder. Depending on the size of your collection and what you are sorting for, the process may take a little time. But the point is that the boring part is being handled by the tool instead of by you manually dragging files around for hours. And here is the result. Instead of one giant pile of everything, we now have a cleaner set based on the sort we selected. That is the entire point of this program. Not to replace MAME. Not to replace proper ROM management tools. Not to be the only tool you ever use. This tool is for people who want a practical way to curate a playable arcade set for the kind of cabinet they are actually building. Now let's talk about what changed with version 5.0. The short version is this: easier to package, easier to share, more focused on real-world use. The program has been cleaned up. The release package has been cleaned up. The GitHub files have been cleaned up. The documentation has been updated. The presets and bundled files are handled in a cleaner way. And the EXE has been tested. This is the first version where I feel good saying, okay, this release is ready for other people to try. Is it perfect? No. And I do not want to pretend it is. This is still a hobby project. It is still something I built because I had a real problem in my own arcade projects, and I am sure people will find things that can be improved. But that is also why I wanted to release it.
Because if other people in the arcade and emulation community test it, use it, break it, and give feedback, version 5.5 can be better. And that is the plan.
Version 5.0 is the release. Version 5.5 is where we can start improving the experience even more based on real feedback. Some of the things I would like to keep improving are the interface, the presets, the documentation, and maybe even the branding. As of making this video, the program still uses a lot of the TNT branding because the software started as one of my projects for the channel. But long-term, I would like the MAME Smart ROM Sorter to have its own stronger identity. That can come later. For now, the important thing is that the tool works, the package is clean, and people can start testing it. So who is this program for? This program is for the person who has a big MAME set and wants a cleaner arcade cabinet setup. This is for the person who is tired of manually sorting ROM zip files. This is for the person who wants to build a joystick cab, a trackball cab, a light gun cab, or a driving cab and does not want to manually hunt through everything. This tool is for people like me who love arcade projects but do not want to waste a whole weekend just sorting files by hand. Because look, I like arcade projects. I like building stuff. I like modding cabinets. I like making things work. But manually sorting a giant ROM set? No thank you. That is not fun. That is not arcade magic. That is folder punishment. And that is why this program exists. So again, the MAME Smart ROM Sorter v5.0 is available now. The GitHub link is in the description. Download it, test it, use it on a copy of your files first. Read the notes. And if you run into issues or have ideas, leave a comment and let me know. I especially want to hear from people building real arcade cabinets, joystick cabinets, trackball cabinets, driving cabinets, all of it. The more real-world feedback this project gets, the better the next version can be. If this helps you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another arcade or emulation nerd. My socials and support links are in the description, including Buy Me a Coffee and channel memberships. And if you try the MAME Smart ROM Sorter, leave a comment and tell me what you think. I am technically not a technician. Thanks for watching. Now go build something cool.